Hi everyone. Today I am going to cover detailed process in order to apply for a Schengen visa. So I applied for this visa for myself, and I thought I'll create a step-by-step guide because this is one of those complex visas that requires a lot of documentation. I'll be sharing my personal experience with you, some tips and tricks that I learned, and we're going to cover all the requirements starting from visa application, how to take the visa appointment, how to make the payment online, offline, entire documents, including travel insurance, that is a specific requirement for Schengen visa. And then my own personal experience at VFS. How do you receive your visa, collect your passport? You may watch this at 1.5x speed, or feel free to skip to whatever section you're looking information for, because I'm going to cover step by step in detail. So this will be a little lengthy video. Let's get started. In order to get started for Schengen visa, this is the website where you can get all the information if you want to see or validate this information yourself, right? VFS Global is the website. When you go here, you will see all of these tabs. You can go to any of this tab, right? Whether at home, apply for a visa, book an appointment, attend a center, apply for certification. So all of these services are available for from VFS. So I have chosen the country as Germany. I'm traveling for business, so I'm choosing Germany as an example for a business visa, but the process will remain same or similar for other Schengen countries as well, but this video is specific to Germany. So if you go here, you will see all of these steps. How do you apply for a visa, book an appointment, if you want to see how to find your nearest center, all of those details are available. And we will be covering all of these in the video. I'm just giving you a high level overview for now. For example, if you click here and apply for a visa, it will show you a step-by-step guide, right? So how do you identify your visa type? How do you begin your application? How do you book an appointment? If you want more details about any of these, right, you can just click on view more and you can get more information that you can read for yourself. So if you see here, right, further, how do you pay your fees? How do you visit a visa application center? How do you track your application? How do you collect your passport? All of this I'm going to cover in this video. One critical thing that I want to share with you is there's a new category added, that is a urgent business category, right? This is for customers who want to travel for business purpose. They can use this urgent business category, and it is only for specific purposes like meeting, training, conferences, etc. Only then you can use this category. If you use this category for any other reason, right, it will be deemed invalid. For example, you're traveling for tourism, personal reasons, then that is not a business reason, right? So that will become invalid. What this does is this gives you a faster appointment. This does not guarantee you that your visa application will be fast tracked, which means if it takes 15 days to process your application, which is the normal minimum turnaround time for a Schengen visa, if you must apply for at least 15 days in advance is what I would say. One important thing I learned is usually when we think of an urgent visa, we think there would be an extra fees. There is no extra fees. The fees is the same. It is just to strengthen the business relationships between Indian and European countries. Some of those countries in Europe are offering this urgent business category, and you can book an appointment sooner because you have to travel urgently. It came in as a last moment travel, so you can use this category as well. And you'll have to see if this is available, applicable at a center that is near to your place. You can download this checklist from the same VFS website that I was showing you here, right? Now, this is a checklist for a Schengen visa for business. So if you see, this is not for Germany. I've downloaded it from the German website, but for this is for Schengen visa for business, right? You can similarly download for personal reasons as well. The documents that are required in case of business are much more, right? So if you are applying for travel tourism, your documents might be even less, but most of these documents will get covered through this video. One tip is that this form, even though you might be filling yes or no yourself, they will verify documents. They will fill this form themselves. They'll return the form that you have filled so that they can verify it and they'll get it signed in front of them. So this is just one thing that I learned when I visited the VFS. So they will fill all of these details looking at the documents that you submitted, right? So from a requirement document perspective, right, this is all of those documents that are mentioned that are applicable, are required to be submitted, and the visa section will not return original documents if you do not provide a copy, which means uh, you have to take only your original passports, but all other documents have to be in copy, other than, let's say the cover letters or personal letters from companies that will cover, because they will keep all your originals, assuming they are meant to be kept by them. They will not return you anything. Something that is not needed will be returned by VFS, but otherwise they'll assume whatever you are submitting is for their consumption. So now you have to mark yes or no, or they will mark it as yes or no, but you can use this checklist for yourself as well. So the first document that is required is a filled out and signed Schengen visa application form. You use this Widex website that I'm going to show to fill out the application online, and then you have to print and submit all of the pages of the application, including the barcode. I'm going to show you all of that. So this online visa application has to be filled out. This is the website that I was mentioning about. I'll put the link in the description as well. Uh, Important note is that you are required to book prior appointment to submit your visa application at Germany Visa Application Center, even though if the consulate is not satisfied with the documents that you've submitted, or they want information that is in addition to what you've submitted, they may ask for additional documents or call you for an interview as well. The application submission at VFS is not an interview so far. One thing that I have noted is that even though it says book prior appointment, what I noticed at VFS was there were walk-in cases as well. So in case your travel is too urgent, you're not getting an urgent business travel date also, try walk-in once. That might help you. So that is one thing. Then the processing time is at least 15 to 30 days. At a lot of places, it is mentioned that if you do not have at least 15 days between when you are submitting your application, it reaches to the embassy, and your date of travel, they might return your passport to you. They will not even consider it if it's less than 15 days. Even the urgent business category does not mean that you'll get your visa in 2 to 3 or 5 days. It takes 15 to 30 days. So please plan to apply for this visa in advance, right? So one tip here is that this form, online visa application, also, even though you filled it, if they find some mistakes, they will refill it and they will reprint it and they will get it signed in front of them from you, right? And book this in advance to avoid any last moment hassles, at least 15 days in advance. So we'll go ahead, go to that Widex website, right? What you'll see is that this is in German. You have two options. One, use Google Translate, right? So as soon as you click on English, you'll see all of this data gets converted to English. Other option is on this website also, there is a drop down that lets you choose the language. You can choose German, English, or whatever language that you are filling in and whatever you are comfortable in. I've chosen English. I feel this option is better than Google Translate because this is from the providers themselves, whereas Google might mix up some things or show you things differently when it translates. So this option is preferable to choose your own language. So choose this language and let's proceed. If you see all of this gets converted to English right now, there are multiple options here on how do you want to start or retrieve an application. So when you start, you can start filling this information as you go here, right? Or if you filled a draft page, got stale, you want to start, you can click on this new application, right? You can click on import data if you've saved. I'll show you how do you save and how do you import data into this. But whatever form you filled, if you've saved, you can import data and you can start from where you left last time. The other is scan barcode. I think the scan barcode is when you've submitted your application, the application number is generated. You can enter your scan barcode number, and you can retrieve information from there. I tried putting the barcode, but it did not work, but the other option worked very well. So let's say we start a new application, right? If you have entered any data already, it will say, do you want to discard that data? You can click on OK, move ahead, start filling the new application. First thing that it is asking for is personal information, but it will ask for all of this information in this form. So it looks like a lot of information, but this form, visa application form, is not that big. It's very simple. And like I said, book your appointment first, and then you can fill this visa application form. This application form is not needed to be filled for taking an appointment. Unlike in many other places like US visa and all, you require the DS-160 form. So I've covered, made other videos on US visa as well, in case you are interested. But for this one, my tip is that book an appointment first. You do not get dates many times. It's good to have date book first, then you can fill this application form. So let's go ahead, fill your personal information, and if you want to see more information, some tips about each of those fields, you can click on the Start Assistant every time, whatever field you are in, and it will start showing you some additional details if something is unclear, right? Or if you have a doubt. So put your surname, put your like family name, and then put your first name similar to as it is in your passport or your document, right? Then put your date of birth, place of birth, country of birth, everything that is there in your passport. I'm applying from India, so I've chosen India, right? Enter your gender, marital status, current nationality, original nationality, only if your original nationality is different than the current nationality right now. So you can enter that. The next thing that it will ask for is profession. You can choose from these drop downs whatever is most applicable to you. Are you a manager, medical practitioner, researcher, or self-employed, or a white-collared worker? You can choose those. If you are employed, you could choose a manager or a white-collared worker as well, which is related to some executive positions. So once you've chosen that, this information is not mandatory, but what you can do is you can enter your company's name and telephone number, street, house number, office address, postal code, location. Remember, this is not the company where you are going in Germany. This is your current company where you are working at. So once you've put your company information details, you can enter any additional details about the address, like a landmark or something that if you want to add, right? Now, the next thing that you have to do is it will ask you for is, contact information. So it is asking for your residential address, right? So enter your street, house number, other details like location, country, telephone, email, and, it will ask you whether you reside in a country other than one of which you are currently a citizen, which means you are a citizen of some other country, working in some other country, applying from that place. You can check on this box accordingly. So enter your residential details, move to the next segment, which is document, right? So identification papers and travel documents. Choose from one of these, right? If you have a diplomatic passport or ordinary passport, group passport, whatever you have, choose that, enter your document number according to your document. Like I have a ordinary passport, I've entered my passport number, right? If there's a national identity number specific to you, for example, if it's a Aadhaar card or PAN card, you may enter that, you may leave it blank because it is not mandatory. Date of issue and the expiry date of your passport, issuing state, issued by, and issued in, these are again non-mandatory fields, so you can skip them as well, but wherever it was issued, you can choose that and you can proceed. The next is biometric data. What it asks is, have your fingerprints already been taken for a Schengen visa application? Now the tip here is that even though your visa was, let's say, 10 or 12 years back, my visa, I had another country, Hungary's visa, but that was 10 to 12 years back. So the answer to this is yes, even though later you will see that for biometric requirements, there is a clause that have you, been done biometrics in last 59 months, but this is not that. This is simply asking you, have you ever applied for a Schengen visa in past and have your fingerprints been taken, right? So you can click on yes, visa sticker number if it is known. You can check it on your passport towards the top right. There is a number that is mentioned. You can mention that, it gives them a reference that this person has visited or applied for a Schengen visa before. Now entering your travel date. Now you have to choose what is the purpose of your travel. Now here I was traveling for urgent business, so I've chosen business trip, right? You can choose others as well, any other information that you want to enter. That's all optional, right? Where do you want to travel first, right? I am going to Germany only, and that is my main travel destination. And how many number of entries are requested, whether you require a single entry or multiple entry, you can choose that. So I've, in this screenshot here, in this I've chosen single entry, but I've actually applied for a multiple entry, so you can choose multiple entry also. And this is your planned arrival date and planned departure date. Now this is very important because Schengen visa asks you for a planned arrival and planned departure. So this is estimated date ideally, right? But in case you are booking your flight or you are booking your hotel, please enter those dates which are required to be where you are actually traveling for those flight tickets. If necessary, if you need entry permit for destination country, then you have to. If you have entry permit already, then you can enter that entry permit number. Now, the next is the reference, right? So details of inviting person. You can choose the type of reference, inviting person, and then what is your, you can choose here from the drop down. Is it an organization or is it a person who is inviting you? So in my case, it is an inviting organization or company, so I have chosen that. enter the name of the company that is inviting you, right? And then enter the location, the city, or the place of business. What is these are the other details, register number, location of register, etc. These are all optional, right? So you can leave them. The family name of the contact person, which is like the surname of the contact person who's sending you the invite letter. We'll be covering the invite letter later in the later part of the video. What is the first name? Enter the gender, enter the date of birth, their nationality. If you don't know that, you can leave them blank. Their street and house number, which is the address number of the company in this case. But if it's another inviting person, you can enter those details, enter the postal code, town, city, and the country. So the next one is enter the their telephone number, etc. Also you can enter. So that information also was required. You can enter their phone and email. Now the next one is assumption of cost, which means who's bearing your cost, right? So if your cost during are borne by yourself, choose applicant himself. Otherwise you can choose that a third party, host company, organization, and the inviting person see these details, right? So you can choose those. Is this inviting person who the details, right? So which means I have already provided the details of the inviting person above from this company. Now means of support is how, when you are traveling, how who will pay for your expenses, right? So here what you can choose is, if you're taking cash or traveler checks, you can do that. For me, it is mainly credit card, accommodation that will be booked in advance, assumption of all expenses during the stay, which means in your cover letters or invite letters it will be mentioned that the company is bearing all the cost. And what is there is another option, right? Here, which is other. You can also mention that I will be to using a company corporate credit card. It's optional. You might skip it as well if you've chosen credit card. That is also sufficient. But otherwise, you can enter this detail also. Now, while you have entered all of this information, you can click on save. This is what I was saying. If you have entered all this information, you want to retrieve this, click on save. What it will do is it will ask you to save that form. You can save that. It is a .json file. You can save it anywhere on your computer. And then, once you can, from that import file, you can again open that. Or here, once you've saved it, you can click on continue. Your application is complete here. The visa application for visa checklist, right? The visa application is complete. Your data has been entered. You can download this PDF file. Printout is only for preparing the application, and you have to do the next steps also. This is just the first step, right? So click on download PDF. Your PDF form will be downloaded here, and this is the form that gets downloaded. You can save it, right? It will have all the application and all of your details. Remember, there is a place for photo. Even though you have to take two photos with you, I'll be covering that later also. You can skip pasting that photo if you have only two photos, because they might, if there are any mistakes in this form, they will fill that form for you again. They will retrieve your application, fill that form again, correct that information, right? And then they will paste your photo. And at the end of this form, there will be some barcodes also generated. So take this entire application form with you, whether they might or might not use them. You can skip pasting the photo. Now, the next step is, which was ideally the first step, you should take the appointment first, and then you should proceed with filling the visa application form, right? So you can type this on Google, VFS schedule appointment, or you just go to this website visavfsglobal.com, and it will take you to book an appointment. So now what you have to do is, when you come here, right, it says book now. What you can do is, you can click on book now, and there are further information that in case you want to see here, you can see that. So if you have previously booked an appointment, or if you want to reschedule it, you can click here and get it. I'll show you later how to do that. If you want to see a step-by-step guide on how to book an appointment, there are some videos that are launched by VFS. They are very small. They do not provide detailed step-by-step information. Yes, but these can be helpful. So you can do them. You can look at that. These also. These are very small videos, but yes, helpful. To track your applications, you can use the appointment reference number and the passport number provided in the appointment letter, right? So you can validate your appointments. Note for Bangalore and Cochin, applying for the visa categories that are mentioned below, you should use this service instead of VSS, right? And you can use that service by clicking here. Now, when you click on book an appointment, it will bring you here, right? You can use your personal ID even though you're applying from business. This is because this visa is for your personal application, right? So if you ever want to look at some details, you can use your personal ID. It is okay to use company ID also. Right now, if you do not have an account, which means you've never booked an Schengen visa appointment before, so you can click on this I don't have an account, or click on activate account. If you tried to click on when you created that account but you did not activate it, so there are two steps, right? So you can click on any of these. First step is I don't have an account. When you come here, put your email, password, confirm your passport, mobile number, to read the privacy notice, and check all of these boxes and click on register. Once you are done, you will get a activation email. Click on that email and you have to log in. So come back to this screen, log in now. Log in, you will see there is no application yet, so you can start new booking here, right? One thing to note here is it shows here apply for travel medical insurance. Note this, I'll show you what and why it is important. But it is important to note that VFS also provides you travel medical insurance. So you can click on get quotes, right? My recommendation here is check for travel medical insurance before you start clicking on start new booking, because when you are doing your booking, then it will show you three or four medical insurance options, and you will not have time to choose immediately look at them, because your page might become stale or your appointment slot might get filled. So either you can get quotes from here first, then start your new booking, or if you are starting your new booking, you start looking at that, you might have to restart your application or retrieve that application and do it again. And the website behaves weirdly sometimes. There are no slots, you might miss out your slot if you are in an urgency or in a hurry. So you can get insurance later also. Even once you booked your appointment, you can come back to this website, click on get insurance. You can get insurance later also. We'll cover more details about insurance further in the video. So let's say now you've clicked on start new booking. Right now, once you are here, it says choose your application center, right? These are the steps that you need to follow. Fill your appointment details, your details, simply book an appointment. What services do you need? Review and book it. This is the first thing that you should do even before filling your visa application form if you are in a hurry, right? Please, you have to provide information about what kind of visa do you want to apply for, right? And be aware that whatever appointment category you choose, it will be applied to each applicant in the category. So if you are applying for two different people who are traveling on two different categories, use two different forms. Otherwise, if the category is same, use the same form. Choose your application center you see according to your city. One thing to note is that Gurgaon is also in this list. Earlier, people in Delhi NCR already used to, always used to go to Delhi VFS. But the good thing is that at least for this visa, the VFS center, visa application center, is in Gurgaon also. You can choose Gurgaon also. I am applying from Gurgaon. Now, when you choose your appointment category, you have to choose, are you applying for a transit visa, Schengen visa, trade fair, or urgent business? I have already covered urgent visa. This is where you can choose Schengen visa. If you choose Schengen visa or you choose urgent visa, you will see what are the dates. So for example, if you see here, it is showing earliest available slot is this 5th February. Whenever you choose whatever category, it will show you wherever you're getting an earlier slot, you can choose that, right? But if you stay too long on this page, this might get stale. You might have to this and start filling this information again. Now here again is because this is important. It says that you need to spend at least 1 minute on this page to fill your application, to take your appointment. So if you get logged out multiple times, page becomes stale, and you are very quick in entering your information, you will still have to wait for 1 minute to before you can proceed with your application. So it says that fill this information as it is as per your passport, pretty basic for any application. If the information does not match, it will be rejected, right? So for first applicant, enter your first name, last name, gender, date of birth, nationality, passport number, passport expiry date, right? So enter all of this information, and then enter your mobile number, email address line, enter your entire address information, and click on save here. Once you click on save, it shows applicant one is this. If you want to add another applicant, if you're applying for a family or if you're applying along with colleagues, ideally I would, for colleagues, I would request that you book different appointment. But sometime maybe if you're booking it through travel agents or booking for two or three people together, you can add other applicants also to it. Note that there is a service fees of VFS applying this application for you, right? But this is not the visa fees. This is just a service fees from the VFS center. This is different than the visa fees. If you want more information, just go to VFS site that I showed you. It has more information. Once all of that is done, click on continue, right? The next field that you'll see here is book an appointment, choose a slot, right? I was booking it for February. Once you see here, this page comes, it was showing me only two dates, 5th and 6th. Every time earlier this was showing slot, but when I used to go to next page, the page used to get stale or did not book an appointment. So my recommendation is do all of this very quickly. Fill your information, quickly choose your slot, and then I was able to get a appointment quickly, right? So choose any of the dates that is most convenient to you. Then choose the time that you want to go at. Choose any time that works convenient for you, early, later, or evening. Everything works, pretty fine. Once you've chosen the slot, click on continue, and then these are some additional services that you want. These are not mandatory services. For example, if while waiting you want to sit in a premium lounge, you can access that at a cost. And now, if you want to get, your documents delivered at your home step, at your doorstep via courier, you can opt for this courier fees option. There are two options to this. One, you can opt for it online, or if you want to, when you go at visa application center, and if you want to opt for that courier fees there, you can fill that form there and get that as well. I will be covering that courier form coverage as well. Now, if you want to opt for SMS service, that also you can choose at an additional cost. So whatever updates are happening on your visa application, you will continue to get those SMS. But my personal tip is that you can avoid this, because whatever progress you are getting, you can see or you can get those updates on your email as well. So when you click on courier fees, it will ask whether you want to apply to all or multiple applicants, and it delivers all your documents quickly or directly to your home. My strong recommendation is, rather than getting confirmation that your documents have been received, go and collect. You can simply opt for courier fees and it will be delivered to your door address. But if you are staying very nearby and if you want to avoid this cost, right, you can ignore this option, don't add this, and then once you have received a email or message that your documents are ready, you can go and collect them from the same visa application center. Click on courier, right? It will show you what all services. SMS service I've already talked about. It just keeps sending you SMS. They're quick, they keep you up to date. If you want this, you can choose that. Click on confirm. It shows all of those extra services that you've added and you want to pay for, right? Then it just says next step is travel assistance with assurance, right? So get travel assistance. What this says is that for Schengen visa, there are compliant travel requirements that require sometimes COVID-19 coverage also. It is a mandatory for your application, and there are approved vendors only from which you can buy insurance. So if you're buying it from a third party, if you're buying it from a travel agent, make sure the company is approved by Schengen visa. You'll have to do that due diligence yourself, right? There are minimum requirements. I'll cover those further more, but this is just that if you want this insurance from VFS, you can buy it externally also. Enter your address details, right? What is your country of entry? What are your travel dates? Do you want to exclude US and Canada or include US and Canada in this, insurance that you're buying? What is the coverage level that you want? Do you want USD 50,000, 250,000? Note the minimum requirement for Schengen visa is 30,000 euros. So your cover or your sum insured should be at least 30,000 euros. You can convert it to a US dollar or any other currency if you would like to understand this better. But this is mandatory to have. At least some people say it's 40,000 euros also at some websites. So I'll say 30 to 40,000 coverage. You should take that, right? Now, if you already have a health insurance, medical insurance, term insurance, your company's insurance for international travel, that might also not work. Make sure whatever insurance you're planning to take or planning to submit is in the approved list. I'll show you how to check on that approved list also in a while, right? So choose this, click on I agree. This is just a quote at this stage. You are not buying the insurance. You can click on get quote. It you won't be charged anything, right? It will give you two or three options you can choose from. If you want to see view all benefits, you can do that as well. You click on view on, it will show you what all does this insurance cover. For example, loss of passport, personal accident, right? So the premium is nominal. It's not pretty much. So for 15 days, it's around 1,300. So you can choose whatever insurance you want. If you've already chosen that, it's easier for you. If you are in a hurry, you can choose that later also. So see all of this, and then what you can do is, if you don't want insurance, if you just want to book your visa appointment at this stage, at this point choose this option, no, I will find my own insurance, and then click on continue. When you do that, your insurance will be skipped. Review all the information, all the details that you have filled, right? Review the fees that you have to pay, check all the terms and conditions, and you want to receive all the communications because you opted for SMS and email service. Now once you've checked this, you are ready to pay your fees online. Now some countries allow paying online, some countries allow the fees to be paid only at at the VFS centers. So for Germany, we are only paying the VFS and services fees. This is not the visa fees that we will have to pay only at VFS, right? So click on pay online. It will show you some ticks that once the payment is successful, it will give you a confirmation. You'll get a PDF. There are some generic useful tips. What if your payments get cancelled or declined, and do not close and return to this until you have a confirmation. So you can read all of this, click on continue. What happened is, like I was saying, the page gets stale if you stay there for long. If you start browsing insurance, right, it says we were unable to schedule the appointment, that slot is already gone, so you need to look for another day or time. And this can continue to happen multiple times. It can get frustrating at times. So I think your focus should be getting an appointment. All of those details can be later, right? Once you go back, fill all that, just go ahead, click on continue, choose your credit card, whatever credit card you want to make the payment from, and then enter your card details, right? Enter, click on pay now, you'll get an OTP, enter that OTP, and then it simply says, thank you for booking an appointment with us. Whatever date time I had chosen, I got that appointment. They do send you a confirmation on your email, right? And you have to take a printed copy of this attachment. That is ideally required for you to enter in the VFS space. Maybe the accept online version also, but we didn't want to take a risk. So take a printout of this along with your booking details. Click on this booking details. It will download a PDF file, right? And take the means of payment, right? So take cash with you. We will cover this later also. And at the as a part of this application, you may be required to pay visa and service fees at the visa application center also. It will show you your transaction date, time, amount, right? You can click on this file that was downloaded by clicking on this booking details link. And what you can see is this gives you all the details. You can review, verify all of those transaction summary, right? It is all that information that we filled here, all the appointment details, verify that the date and time is correct. You need to be there at the application center at this date and time. This is the PDF that gets downloaded. Just validate that and take that with you. And then what you can do is, when you scroll down, just click on home. Once you go to home, this was showing as blank. Now it shows that you have an appointment, and this is the application number. You can click on manage appointment as well if you want to change anything on the application, right? So this shows your application details. If you want to cancel it, reschedule it, want to resend your confirmation letter or print your appointment letter again, you can do that. Now see here, once you booked it, you still get your travel medical insurance option. So it's not necessary that you have insurance before you book your appointment. You can get insurance at the same time or later also. Now let's say you want to so you've done two steps until now. You filled your visa application, you took the appointment, right? Now you have to complete your documentation. One important documentation is medical insurance. So you can again click on get quotes, but here now it will start showing you that this is mandatory. You will be taken to a website which is outside VFS Global. Earlier, whatever option you were purchasing was directly from VFS, but now if you go from here, what it will do is it will take you to an external site of Policy Bazaar. I'll show you that also. But if you see in the checklist, right, there is one option on medical insurance. So it says that it is mandatory for all Schengen countries, right, and covers it has to cover your entire duration, not for few days, right? Whatever days you are visiting, all of that should be covered in the insurance, right? It says euro 30,000, like I was saying, and the German missions accept Indian travel medical insurances only from approved Indian travel insurance companies. If you click on this link, you can find more information about insurance. But if you scroll down further here on the same website, again, it says the same thing. It has to be approved, and it is mandatory from the approved vendors that they have shortlisted, right? And they will not accept non from insurances from unlisted or people, the companies that are not here. This is the list of all the companies that you can see: Echo, Reliance, Care, Bharti Axa. All of these are here, and these also show what are the entry and exit, for this for these insurances. There are some further details about medical insurance, right? That for multiple entry, single entry, and this is the you should have approved insurance. What is the minimum coverage? You can read all of this. Once you've done all of that, click on back to overview services. You can go back and then click on continue. So once you do that, it will take you to policy bazaar. It will say that you are applying for Schengen visa Germany. This will be auto checked. Right now what you need to do is put your start dates and end dates. Put your start date, end date, click on done. Choose your age, choose the number of travelers, click on done again, and then click on view plans. Once you do, you will start seeing all of these options. There were very limited options, right? There were four options that were shared. You can ideally choose any of them. It gives you policy bazaar assurance as well, that these are visa compliant requirements, so you do not need to worry that this is different from BFS. Is it okay or not to buy from policy bazaar? It is perfectly okay, and they accept these insurances. In fact, these are shown by VFS, right? So you can choose from any of these. What you can also do is, because these are four options, you want to compare, check mark, let's say these two for compare, and you can see the differences also. When you click on these two and click on compare here, right, it is showing you are comparing these two insurances. Click on compare now. Once you do, right, it will show you plan comparison. This is 1590, this is 1698, right? Before buying, you can see all of the other important features. I'll also show you which one did I buy, right? So you just stick at these important features, right? And if you want to see any what important features in detail, you can click on this box here and it will expand. It will show you that what this feature covers, right? Now, you should also see, if you want to verify that on the website, that is Reliance General, for example, is in that list. Yes. Tata Group, is it in that list? Yes. So Reliance is in that list. So you can buy this insurance. This is approved right now. While you were comparing, there is a checkbox where you can see only the differences. The same things you can skip, right? So if you want to see that, you can do that. If you want to see the entire details, you can do that. There is also a deductible. Deductible means in case something happens, this is the bare minimum amount that you will have to pay. Only you pay that. After that will this insurance kick in, right? So for example, for Reliance, you'll have to first pay $300, but for Bajaj Alliance, you'll have to pay $180 as an example, right? Now, it also covers some trip related covers. For example, if your trip is delay, your deductible is $300, and then if you have a missed connection, this is how much you get, or all of these details you can compare. If there are trip interruptions, they were not a part of Bajaj Alliance, right? There are some baggage related covers. For example, in case if you see, you'll get $300, you'll get $250, right? So all of this information you can compare, and once you are ready, you can click on buy now on any one of those policies, right? Enter your personal details, and you will see one option: refund of visa fees. What this option is, that in case your visa gets rejected, if you buy this insurance, they will refund you your visa fee. So if you are confident that your visa will get approved, you may opt out of this. But in case you are not confident, this is a good option. For some nominal amount that your visa gets rejected, at least you will get refund of your visa fees. In other case, you will not get that, right? But this is from the insurance. You can uncheck this. You can see what your total premium is, right? Enter all of your personal details, right? Checkbox all these boxes and click on pay now. Once you do that, here also it is as simple. You can choose any of these options: UPI, debit card, net banking, credit card, whatever options works best. Enter your code, verify, and it says your payment is successful. As soon as your payment is successful, it will ask for your additional details like your passport number, PIN code, address, phone number, nominee details. So you can enter all of this information and click on submit. Once you do, it will show you that your policy is ready. You can download this policy from here, or you will get it also on your email. You can also create an account if you already don't have an account with Policy Bazaar, so that it gets linked to your account. And if you want it later, you can do that as well. This is a screenshot of the insurance that I bought. I bought Reliance because it was showing as better in all the other aspects, like the deductibles were less, the claim amount were more than as compared to other. So I took Reliance insurance. Now, what you've done is you filled your visa application form, you've taken the appointment, and you've taken the medical insurance. Now let's get to the checklist that I showed earlier also, right? Remember, this is filled at VFS. So the VFS person, he will verify all of your documents. He will check marks against all of the documents that you've submitted, and then he'll get it signed in front of you. But you should, as a good practice, as a best practice, take this along with you. So we've done these steps. First step, visa application form is done. The next is signed declaration of true and complete information. This is one of the forms that is part of the visa application form. This is what it looks like. It says that all the information that I am providing is correct. So in case does not get populated with visa application, you can download it separately as well from the VFS website, but it's usually there. So you just have to sign and take it with you at the visa application center. It is you know the next item is signed declaration of travel with valid medical insurance. While you've taken medical insurance, it is important that you fill this form also, that this is my name, date of place of birth, passport details. You should sign this with date and time, and you should take this form also in person with you, signed form with you. The next is valid passport, right? So your passport should be issued within 10 years and it should have at least 3 months validity. Some countries have 6 months also. So make sure you check what country in Europe you're applying it for, right? And if there are any observations, your application might not be accepted, right? It should have at least 2 pages to affix your visa on it, right? So these are basic bare minimum visa application requirements for any country that you apply for, right? Copy of biometrics and address page of the passport, DIN A4. This is nothing. It is simply the first and last page that shows your photo and your address. So take printout of that, take a photocopy with you. Otherwise, the VFS people might, if they print it, they might charge you heavily for that, right? The next is taking biometric passport picture. Many of you might think that the picture will be taken there and you don't need this picture, but that is not the case. You should definitely take at least two pictures with you if you're not pasting one on the visa application form. The requirements simply are 35 by 45 with white background, right? 70 to 80% face coverage, and it should not be older than 6 months. So make sure you get a photograph clicked from outside, because otherwise, if you get it done at visa VFS or application center, that might be very expensive, and there might not be a picture center nearby also. Then the next item that you need in the checklist is personal covering letter or proof of intended means of transport and itinerary. This is one of the most important documents that you have to submit. It tells the embassy that why they should grant you a visa, and you have to enter all your details in this carefully. So for your reference, what I have done is I have shared a template of what I submitted, right? The date, the visa officer, and subject application. And this is the entire format. You may choose to use the same or a little different one as well, right? So enter your name and your company, and since when you are working, what dates you are going from, what is the purpose of your meetings, why are you required there, and you can enter that additionally that all the expenses will be borne by your company. You will have a return ticket and hotel ticket, and you are covered by the insurance policy. You abide by the country and immigration rules, and if you could grant the visa for me, enter your passport details along with, and you can submit along with this. The next is, if you are international staff exchange, then you have to fill this information, approval of the Federal Employment Agency. You need to attach that along with. In all the cases, right, because this is a business visa, you need the original signed covering letter from the company in India on company letterhead. So if you're traveling from India, wherever you are traveling from, you need a cover letter which is signed by your HR or your country head, right? And it says your name, your passport number, your purpose, and your itinerary visit in brief. It should be signed and stamped by that person, right? It could be the HR of the country also. The HR might issue NOC, which is also okay, but something from your sponsoring company should be mentioned that we are sending this person, and this is the cover letter required from us. In all cases, in case of a business visa, in addition to the covering letter, in addition to what you've submitted in point number 7, what you need to submit is certificate of incorporation of the company and It is not any one of three, it is all three of those documents. So you will need to ask, these are confidential documents, so but you will need to ask your company or company HR or your manager to get this information to you. The GST registration of the company, the proof of company registration, or some of you might get see what is the difference between certificate of incorporation and proof of company registration. The certificate of incorporation is, let's say you can download a digital form or an unsigned form. The proof of company registration is final signed and stamped form that yes, the company was registered, and they're asking for all three documents to make sure that the company is actually sponsoring you, right? The next is invite letter from business partner in German or English. Now, this is in addition to your personal covering letter or company covering letter. Invite letter, you can again use same format for company letter or invite letter, just that the signatures here will change from your name to the inviting person or your company HR, head HR or company head, right? Who will be writing that I am inviting this person for this reason, and please grant him this visa, right? And what is the business relationship, right? So this all needs to be mentioned. Format can be same, but it has to be on the company letterhead. This original covering letter as well as invite letter should be on the company letterheads to show that yes, your case is genuine and that company is actually requesting for you to be present there, right? Like I mentioned, just the signatures and name will change, but you can use the same formats. The next is if you are traveling from a consulting company, which means you are traveling for another company, then you need a confirmation from German client. Similarly, the invite, similar to invite letter. And if they arrange accommodation for you, they should confirm the same also. And if they do not, then you can leave the point number 12, right? If you're booking it on for yourself. Detailed schedule of business meetings. Note, this is required only if your stay is over 30 days. If you want to provide it additionally, you may, right? But it's not required if your stay is less than 30 days. Then, if you have further appointments in Schengen area, which means you've applied for one country, say Germany, but you also want to go to France, then you need signed invitation letters from the business partners or company letterhead mentioning purpose and itinerary of the personal data of the applicant. So, all of those places where you are traveling, you will have to give all of that. Next is proof of accommodation, right? So in case you are staying in a hotel, you booked a hotel, please ensure that for Schengen visa, booking a hotel is mandatory. You may do a dummy booking or an actual booking. Preferred is an actual booking, right? If at least you're going on business visa. So that is mandatory. Book that, attach along with that, and they'll check marks this that you're staying in a hotel, or if you're staying with a family member or friend, then you need a confirmation from the host that this person is going to stay with me. Or if you're going to multiple countries or states, then you need to provide a proof of accommodation in each country or a member state. It is not only for one country or whatever country you're staying the most, it has to be for all of those. The next documentation that you require is sponsor documentation, which means proof of financial means if the trip is sponsored by a third party. In my case, for example, my trip was sponsored by a company in India, right? So, in addition to all of those certificate of incorporation and GST, what you will also require is ITR returns for last 3 years for your company. This is not for you, for the company or the sponsor company that is sending you. Now, in case your sponsor is an Indian resident, which is not an Indian company, you need all of these details, right? Passport copy, and then if it's your spouse or a parent, then marriage certificate or birth certificate. If you're sponsored by a German or European resident, you need all of this information. If you're sponsored by a company in Germany, you need that information. So choose wisely and accordingly with respect to who is actually sponsoring your trip, who is actually sponsoring your visa, and choose this option accordingly. The next is traveler documentation, your documentation, proof of economic status of the applicant, right? So what you have to submit is if you are employed, if you are a salaried employee, you have to submit the pay slips of last 3 months old. Whenever you are applying, make sure it's 3 months old. It's not any 3 months, just 3 months before you are applying, right? Your employment contract, which means your original offer letter or your annual hike letter or your annual offer letter if your company stays, or your proof of employment from your company, right? Submit that offer letter or employment contract. Then, if you're going on a leave, then you need this employee statement on holiday. If you're traveling for business, you probably don't need this. But if you're going on holidays, then leave sanction letter from your company, right? And then your bank statements of last 3 months. and make sure that these are stamped by the bank. It is not that you can download an online copy or you go to the bank just get a statement. It has to be signed and stamped by the bank, otherwise you risk your visa application rejection, right? And then the next item that is needed is your income tax return for last 2 years or Form 16. So any of these documents from this, but all of these other five documents, six documents, they are required, right? If you are a company or a self-employed, if you're retired, if you're a student, if you're unemployed, all of these documents are mentioned here. You can refer to any of these documents, and all of these documents will be required as per your status. The next is proof of civil status, which means, if you're single, you don't need anything. But if you're married, your marriage certificate. If you're divorced, divorce certificate. If you have children, their birth certificate or death certificate of a spouse, whatever is applicable as what is your civil status, right? The next one is flight reservation. Again, very key, very important. Schengen visa requires you that you have a flight reservation before your appointment. It is not before you fill your visa application form or you're collecting your documents. But when you go for an appointment, make sure your flight is booked. It could be again dummy or an actual flight or on a refundable basis, but you have to book your flight, show that your flight is confirmed, not one way, two-way return ticket is what you have. The medical insurance we've already covered, right? You can see all of those lists. This is here in the checklist. If you are applying for a minor, all of these documents, right? Birth certificate, passport copies, and all of these information for a minor are additionally required. So please do take a note of all of these information. If there is anything additional that you want to submit, you feel that you need to submit extra explanation or documentation, you can do that. VFS will not refuse that documentation. It will just note it in comments that you've added this. Some examples are your investment proofs or other bank statements. If you're receiving salary in one bank but you're investing it in in mutual funds or stocks, take those investments with you, right? You can submit those as show your financial proof, especially if you're not traveling on business. If you're going on a personal travel trip, you should add whatever you can show that you have sufficient amount in bank, right? There's no thumb rule as to if it should be 10 lakhs, 50 lakhs, 1 crore. As long as you have sufficient money, thumb rule may be 10,000 rupees per day, right? So if you have for a 30-day trip, if you have 3 lakh, 4 lakh rupees, I think those should be sufficient, and there should not be recent transfers in your bank account, right? So they will check, scrutinize all of those. So make sure you have good bank history also when you are applying this. Now, if you get, let's say the company's cover letter, but you're getting a company NOC from the HR, you can add that. And, if you want to add any other info document, that also you can add. So while you are submitting your application at Visa Application Center, there will be biometrics that will be done. If you've applied for Schengen visa, which is a short-term visa for 90 days, if you're applying it again, right, if your biometrics were done, you don't need to get those biometrics done again. So what they're asking is if in last 59 months, which is almost in 6 years, if you've got your biometrics done, then mention the date and year, and then if your fingerprints should be taken, your fingerprint should, they are saying that if it was within 59 months, you must submit your biometrics. But at Visa, actually, application center, they can skip your biometrics also if it was a recent one, right? It also says whether you were, excused from giving biometrics. If you, for example, you did not give biometrics, you can mention that reason, right? The next is additional document if you're not submitting application directly. Important point to note again, it is not mandatory for you only to go. If you don't have your biometrics, you can send an authorization representative, right? If they require you, they will call you. But if you are sending somebody, then you need to sign a authorization letter for travel agent or the representative. I will show you the format later, and a copy of passport of the person who's submitting this application on your behalf. So this is only if you're not submitting by self. If somebody else is submitting for you, you need this information also. There are some general remarks like I have covered, that you should apply it within 15 days, and there are no queries that will be inquired within 15 days. And a flight, if you have booked a flight, it does not mean you will definitely get a visa. It is just a requirement. If it gets rejected, you will have to cancel your flight tickets, right? And all the documents have to be submitted either in German or in English, right? All the forms which are not in German or English, will have to be submitted with translation. So this is another remark. Then there are some special remarks that if you are visiting, see whether you require a pre-approval or not, right? So some special remarks that you should take care of. Now this is declaration of the visa applicant, that I have taken note of all of these requirements, and then you have to sign. Either you have to sign or your representative will have to sign, right? Like I mentioned earlier, because they print this form at the VS application center, they will get this signed in front of themselves, and then this is a confirmation that they will submit. You're not, this is not like a receipt that is going to come back to you. They are just signing this, that yes, we've received this application. They will send it to the German embassy. VFS is just like a courier. Remember, they're collecting your documents. They will send it to the embassy of the country that you are applying to, right? And they will sign that yes, this was my name. I checked the documents and I'm sending you these documents. This is what is submitted at the embassy. Now, this is the consent form, right, that I was talking to you about earlier. So even though you opted for courier service, but they might request this form to be submitted, then you can already pre-print it, sign it, and submit it. That this is my name, number, address, send my passport to this address. Then this is the letter of authorization that I was talking about. If somebody else, if a travel agent or representative is going on your behalf, then those people need to submit that application, that I am sending this representative, this is these passport details, so you need to sign this authorization letter also. Now everything is ready. You have filled your application form, you've taken your appointment, you've taken your insurance, you've collected all your documents, right? Now at the VFS center, you should reach on time. It can get busy, right? So if you are on time, your application will get quickly done. You will get a token, you will be processed according to your token number. Usually at embassies or VFS, at least for US visa, sometimes these mobiles are not allowed, but here mobiles were allowed, at least in Gurgaon, right? Check whether your embassy, or sorry, your VFS center allows or not. But for Gurgaon, these were allowed. So maybe mobiles are allowed to make a UPI payment, or if you have to receive any OTPs or your confirmation letters, right? Note, VFS is only providing a collection service. This is not an interview. You don't have to worry. If you will not be asked questions here, they might just ask you questions that are already in your application, like what is your name, where are you visiting, why are you visiting, nothing more than that, right? So they will collect, they will send it to embassy, embassy will process the visa, and VFS will send it to you, or VFS will get their application back and you can collect it from VFS. There is a huge question on, can the payment be online? Yes, the payment can be online if the country that you are applying for is allowing that. Otherwise, you can go at the VFS center, pay by card, UPI cash also. What I've usually seen, and that happened for me as well, my card or my corporate card did not work, so I paid in cash, but others paid in UPI as well. And you don't probably need to get a payment receipt. It comes to your email that you've mentioned, and they make sure to check with you that yes, you receive that email, and they see that email also. So phone is needed for that purposes also there. Take at least two photos. If you've pasted one photo on your visa application form, and that application form has to be resubmitted, they'll have to take off your photo and submit again. So rather than pasting your photo, take at least two photos as per specifications, and they will be needed, right? After all of this is done, simply get your biometrics done. It's just your fingerprints, face, eyes, right? And then once your biometrics is done, they'll tell you that your visa application is over, you can go back home. You'll start getting updates immediately on your SMS and email, and then you can just await your visa. So all the best. This is what I had to share. Hope you find this video useful. If you do, please let me know in comments, like, share, comment this video, because it gives motivation to make such more videos. Thank you so much for watching.